There's a new term called dopamine burnout.
That dopamine burnout, when it happens, it feels like hopeless, irritable, anxious, very volatile, very fragile.
Dopamine is supposed to be the happy hormone. When did we cross the line that dopamine become like overstimulated?
So, dopamine is a hormone which says go get it.
Can we say that dopamine regulation is at the core of addictive behaviors?
So, people who are over addicted towards these behaviors which are dependent on caffeine, social media, internet, etc., or even drugs, their behaviors change.
How can we train our brains to achieve good things or for being productive?
For somebody who are involved in unhealthy behaviors, seeking very salty, sugary, highly processed, ultra processed foods, their GLP production is low inherently. Some people are in a hurry. As soon as they wake up, they reach out to their gadgets and cell phones like notifications are dying.
What will be that one insight you can give to people using dopamine for them and not against them?
No binge watching the content, not opening any social media apps, no eating junk food, get bored, feel bored.
We're seeing Ozempic and Mounjaro prescribed to suppress dopamine. So artificially suppressing those cravings, will that have an effect in the long run?
Sometimes.
There are two things that we all are going through. One is binge watching, another one is doom scrolling. So how are these two things rewiring our brain?
All of us are used to very innovative new features on mobiles like autoplay the next episode, autoplay the next playlist, or even endless scrolling. Like if you see on your feed, the scrolling is so too much that there's no end.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time we tried to scroll and there's any end. So these are definitely hijacking our brains because all these social media apps are very aware of human psychology, human behavior. Like the more overstimulated the brain can get, the more tolerance we get, and less sensitized we become. Less sensitized, then we need more content, more scrolling to get the same reward.
Right.
See, we are all in the same loop. So the rewiring is happening because of this, because overstimulation is not good. Receptors are there for a reason. Right stimulation is good. Less stimulation or overstimulation, under or over, both are bad. When this is being overstimulated, only this pathway is hit again and again, and other pathways which are meant for our behaviors, other behaviors like social behaviors, are falling behind. We are not using that part of the brain which is needed for our executive function or long-term memory.
Okay.
And
Is this overstimulation the reason why we are not enjoying the same things we used to enjoy before, or we feel bored very easily?
exactly, we feel bored very easily. To get the reward, to get out of that boredom, again we look forward for overstimulation. So basically, we are craving for this overstimulation, and this craving behavior comes out of our rewiring the dopamine system.
And there's a new term called dopamine burnout, right? Is that the real term? If yes, how do we know if we are in that loop of burnout?
We all have a homeostasis in the body. We all need to be having certain kind of balance, whether it is our body temperature, blood pressure, our hormones, our neurotransmitters, our mood, energy balance, etc. So if you're overstimulating, overusing certain part of the system, the other part of the system will go into underdrive. Overdriving one system will put us in underdrive in opposite system. Similar thing is happening either with dopamine stimulation or cortisol stimulation or insulin. Imagine a suitcase where you stuff it up, and then you have stuffed it so much that you have to open up that extended zip that we all have.
Right.
If you open that extended zip, what happens? You can fit in more stuff.
Right.
But that is not durable anymore. It can break down anytime. That is how our systems are becoming. We are compensating, but only up to a certain level where we break down. That breakdown is dopamine burnout.
Okay.
That dopamine burnout, when it happens, it feels like hopeless, irritable, anxious, very volatile, very fragile, emotionally fragile, not getting the joy and desire that you had in similar relationships before, or similar joyful events that you used to participate before.
Yeah. But can the reset also happen?
Reset can happen. That is the best part of the brain. That is called neuroplasticity. We can definitely rewire our brain, and uh, of course, we can't change the car, right? But we can change the fuel in the system.
Right.
So we can change the fuel in the system. We can make it work better. We can rewire it.
And taking a step back, right? Dopamine is supposed to be the happy hormone. Dopamine is supposed to like do good things to us. But when did we cross the line that dopamine became this, bad thing? Or like when did it become like overstimulating?
Dopamine is not a bad thing. We all need it. We all need motivation. We all need reward systems. We all look forward to accomplish a task. We all need novelty. If we keep doing the same job again and again, we feel bored. So we change. We change our tables. We change our coffee mugs. We change our mics. We do all such things because we need that motivation. But if that is happening once in a month, once in 2 months, it's fine. But in today's age and time, it's happening like every minute, every few seconds. You want that reward to be hit. That is wrong.
Right.
So dopamine is a hormone which says go get it.
Right. Right. And how does it work very differently from other happy hormones like oxytocin or
Serotonin is something which keeps us going, which keeps the motivation on, which someday, I'll keep working for it. Someday I'll reap the benefits and I'll be the happiest person. But to reach there, dopamine is something that keeps us upfront and keeps us moving forward.
Okay.
Endorphin is something that it says whenever the journey is painful, it's okay, wait for your reward, you'll do well. That kind of resilience is what endorphins give you. Serotonin will say keep doing it, you'll get it. Dopamine is something which gives that motivation, which pushes us, no, go get it. So
Okay.
these things work in harmony to build the resilience, to accomplish the task, to enjoy the journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what could be some of the signs of this overstimulating, very visible signs, where like we should get triggered, that we should do something about it?
I think all of us should keep a note on it, right?
Right.
Whenever you are overstimulated, especially towards your internet, if you're addicted towards your internet or caffeine, overstimulated towards doom scrolling, you will know it when you cannot stay away from your mobile for at least 30 minutes or half an hour. You can't stay away from internet. You can't stay away from gaming for few minutes. You can't enjoy any moment in staying quiet. At least something or the other should be running. Either the music should be running, either TV should be running, either you should be playing a game, either you should be on internet searching something, scrolling something, and you can't stay quiet when all of this is off. And you become boredom intolerant and you become frustration intolerant. That means boredom is so frustrating that you become anxious, agitated, you become emotionally very fragile, volatile, and also there are other repercussions of it, not able to sleep in the night, insomnia, fatigue, all of those things.
Okay. So, like other biomarkers where you can like clearly measure it, right? Are there any tests or are there any tools to measure dopamine as well?
Not about measuring dopamine, but there is this Dr. Young, is a psychologist. In 1998, I believe, he came up with a questionnaire, 20 questions questionnaire. Like, you answer this questionnaire, each question, all of these questions will fall into your social behaviors, your emotional regulation, your social regulation, your wakefulness, and your energy. So these questions will fall into these segments. And you answer these questions. Depending on the score, it will put you into severe, moderate, or mild internet addictive disorder. There's this term called internet addictive disorder designed by Dr. Young. You answer that scoring system, then you understand, depending on your score, if you're addicted, mild, moderate, or severe.
Okay.
That is there. And other test which you can look into is called cognitive assessment test. So basically, it will look into how different parts of your brain is working. Every part of your brain has a function, right?
Right.
One looks into your attention, another one into your immediate memory, long-term memory, your brain executive function, etc., and your attention.
Right.
This I have often noticed again and again in people, in individuals who have internet addiction disorder, and people who are doom scrolling all the time, who are having this overstimulated dopaminergic systems, often have less scores on their attention and in their working memory and their executive function.
Okay.
What does it mean? It means their prefrontal cortex is not used enough. They are not engaging in long term activities, they're not engaging in mindful activities, mindless scrolling.
Right.
So, not using prefrontal cortex enough. Only using your mesolimbic system, your nucleus accumbens, your striatum is stimulated all the time,
Okay.
and your amygdala is low, and your prefrontal cortex is low. So, these are the areas which are affected. Your attention, your long term memory, your executive function is affected.
Got it. So when you say addiction, be it any kind of addiction, right? Be it caffeine addiction or even substance addiction that is becoming a problem by the day, can we say that dopamine regulation is at the core of addictive behaviors?
Definitely. I was saying mesolimbic system is something which looks into our reward pathways, right? The nervous system is very intrinsically connected. So people who are overstimulated with dopamine, who are over addicted towards these behaviors, which are dependent on caffeine, social media, internet, etc., or even drugs, their behaviors change because that pathway also look into their behaviors.
Right.
So their behaviors change.
So how can we train our brain so that the dopamine system works for us or like to achieve good things or for being productive? How do we train our brain?
It's important we don't overstimulate it. We have only few dopamine receptors and we save them. If you keep overstimulating it, first of all, the tolerance level comes down, the number of receptors comes down. That's why, since those receptors come down, the same activity, if you choose to do it again, like when you were not overstimulated before, you were enjoying something, for example, and you're beating that behavior now. You don't enjoy that activity anymore because you have fewer receptors.
Right.
For you to get that reward, you need to be overstimulated. The same activity will not give you joy.
Right.
So, how do we train it? So, training becomes important where the stimulation is reduced. It is reduced in doses. Like if you're scrolling like every minute, reduce it to every hour.
Yeah.
Then reduce it to very few hours. Same thing with screen time. Reduce the screen time. Pull your screen time away from your night time, not closer to your bedtime, so that you sleep better.
Right.
You sleep better, you retain your attention and memory better. So focus on your sleep, reduce the screen time, pull it away from your bedtime, very importantly. Focus on more healthy foods, more whole grains. Don't stimulate those receptors with extra caffeine, sugar, or ultra processed foods, etc. Because most of these chemicals are made in the gut.
Right.
If you can maintain your gut, if you can give good food to your gut, most of the healthy neurotransmitters are made in the gut and they do good things for you.
So practically, how will a dopamine healthy day or dopamine healthy lifestyle look like in a very practical sense?
Dopamine healthy lifestyle should look like this. Start with morning sunlight exposure. Some people are in a hurry. As soon as they wake up, they reach out to their gadgets and cell phones like notifications are dying. Like if they don't open, as if the notification is disappearing from their system,
So we
from the
flatter
center.
ourselves, like
So
world will stop if we don't.
as if the world stops, we reach out to our mobile phones. So let's stop doing that. Let's keep our cell phones away from us so that at least we reach the window and then reach to the phone. So make tough decisions for yourself. So the very first step is reach to your nearest window. To reach to the nearest window, keep phone away from the distance between the window and yourself. And then focus on eating good foods. Delay your caffeine intake. And also don't avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. so that it won't disturb your sleep.
Right.
So you need to prepare and unwind for your sleep. I also see people towards 10 p.m. in the night, they get back to their gadgets and they finish their unfinished tasks.
Right.
Like that is very important time. If they don't finish, then they were not going to sleep.
Right.
Tasks can wait,
Mm.
but sleep shouldn't wait. So we need to be sleeping, we need to be postponing, we need to be saying no to a lot of things. I think to set the dopamine right, we need to be saying no.
Okay.
We need
Yeah, that's a
we need to
great
be saying
advice.
no to stimuli. To stimuli.
Mm.
Stimuli could be caffeine, stimuli could be sugary foods. Stimuli could be your social behaviors, posting pictures. Don't post picture in the night which can keep you awake. At least post it in the morning. If you post it in the night and wait for you to see how many likes, shares and subscribers did I get, that is going to disturb your sleep. At least post it in the morning.
Got it.
So these are the small behavioral changes that we all can do to keep dopamine regulated, and it can do good for us.
We're seeing Ozempic and Mounjaro prescribed to suppress this like dopamine high behaviors or to suppress cravings, right? So artificially suppressing those cravings, will that have an effect in the long run?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Because I've seen individuals who have taken Mounjaro and did successfully suppress the cravings.
Okay.
But I've also seen a subset of individuals whose cravings came down, but their weight didn't shed.
Okay.
Their HbA1c didn't change. Their blood sugar control has not changed. Because if you look at it, weight loss is very different thing when compared to food cravings.
Right.
Okay, your food
Okay.
cravings can come down because whenever we eat whole food means a good balanced plate. When we eat, our gut will get a signal. This person ate the food. Release GLP. GLP will act in the brain and tell that stop craving, stop the appetite center. This person has eaten food. He or she is full, stomach is full. Please stop the signal so that this person will stop feeding.
Right.
For somebody who are involved in unhealthy behaviors, seeking very salty, sugary, highly processed, ultra processed foods, their GLP production is low inherently. First switch they have to make is to move to whole foods.
Right.
If that is not able to be achieved, and they're depending on a drug, and drug is doing this good for them, fine.
But when they come
But
off
if
the drug,
but are you able to sustain it when the drug is removed? So healthy choices are crucial. Though drug is there, we need to make good lifestyle choices to be able to continuing the similar effects.
got it. If I ask you, what will be that one insight you can give to people to regulate their dopamine or dopamine, using dopamine for them and not against them, what would that be?
Become more conscious where you're sitting, why you're sitting, what you're eating, who are you talking to, what are they even talking. Sometimes we are in front of people,
Right.
we think we are listening, but we are not listening.
Okay.
I think we should start listening, start seeing the food that we're eating, start feeling every second, stop doing two things at a time,
Right.
stop multitasking. I was doing that before as well. Like,
Because multitasking
years
is
ago.
supposed to be cool and productive, right?
No, that is hampering. For some days you will be able to do that, but later you will burn out. Later we'll feel fatigued. I can't do this anymore. Oh no, I don't have any more energy. We give up.
You're neither there nor here.
Let's not reach that stage. Let's do one thing at a time and cherish it. Enjoy your life. Live the moment. Literally living the moment. Yeah.
And on days when you actually feel overstimulated, what do you do? What are your coping mechanisms?
You've heard about dopamine detox, right?
Yeah.
Like, we all practice. In some sense, we all do. Because every day we sleep for certain number of hours, and those 9 hours that we sleep, and if we wind down 1 hour before bedtime and we don't see phone as soon as we wake up, that's like
A form of
11 hours
detox.
of detox. But if we have to, whenever I need to really dopamine detox, I would do for at least 24 hours. 48 hours is impossible. Only when I get a holiday for 48 hours, maybe I'll do it next time. But I wish to do it 48 hours to 72 hours. But what does it go into dopamine detox? No binge watching the content. No, not opening any social media apps. It could be YouTube, Meta, whatever, or even LinkedIn for that matter. No eating junk food. Get bored. Feel bored. That is when your curiosity improves, your creativity and imagination improves, and we can build boredom intolerance. One great thing I started doing is it takes 45 minutes for me to reach from work to home and home to work back. So I stopped working in my car. I closed all my gadgets. I started staring outside across the windows. That is what I remember doing when I was going to school. When I used to
Before
take
Google
20 to
Maps.
30-minute journey before Google Maps.
Yeah.
Across the way, now there'll be a left turn. I would see a blue building. Now
Correct,
there is
yeah.
this hoarding, and then there is this traffic around IKEA. Oh, this U-turn takes a lot of time. Oh, there are so many people across this restaurant always. So these are the smaller things, because brain always craves for progression, not perfection. So let's all enjoy these small wins of celebration and progression. That is what I'm enjoying doing now. I play the music in the car and I keep watching outside across the stupid things, getting bored. This is what I'm enjoying now, getting bored. I want to see what curious things come up in my mind, so that I work better the next day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Apart from, I mean, in this 24 hours, if you're not binge watching or like doing all the regular
But
things, what are you doing?
removing is not enough. What are you
Yes,
replacing
exactly.
with is very important,
Yeah.
right? So getting bored is one thing. Two, getting into the nature, walk more in the nature, barefoot, very important, at least 10 to 15 minutes. I do that in the mornings when I wake up. There is a terrace lawn where I walk. Very important. Without watching the phone again. Being very observative.
Yeah.
What is happening across you, hearing things, again stimulating, getting your senses stimulated, watching, hearing, sipping your tea or coffee and looking into, feeling the taste of it. And then strength training is something I enjoy, and that is the best investment we all make when we are replacing things. Starting to do a new thing. Whenever I feel like doing a new thing, maybe I'll buy a new board game.
Yeah.
That is my way of doing it. People can find their own way. They can choose a new skill.
Yeah. Something that our brain already doesn't know.
Already doesn't know, which is new, because we all look for novelty, right? But we shouldn't look for it every few days. I see people, new job, 2 months, excited, and then baseline. New phone, 2 days, excited, then nothing. Bought a new game. I see this in kids. Bought a new game. One day, very excited, and next day, nothing. So I think baselines are flattering, lowering down these dopamine levels, baselines. I think we need to rebuild those baselines so that we can be stimulated with smaller things, with smaller gifts, a friend visiting us, us planning to visit a friend,
Right.
or even making some time to make some phone calls to friends we were missing. At least start missing people.
Got it. Yeah.
We are trying to simplify very complex longevity science into bite-sized information. If you think this information is useful for you and for your family members, and if you think this life-saving preventive hacks can help people out there, please share these videos. And we are trying to do this every week. So please do like, share, and subscribe.